What's up, everyone? This is Vinnie Rodriguez, Mr. Vinnie Rodriguez. I'm here addressing everyone today in our Vast Books series, in our Vast Books group, right? This is Vinnie Rodriguez, also known as 8-Figure Vision. 8-Figure Vision, presenting the next entry, the book, The Fish That Ate the Whale. The Life and Times of America's Banana King. This is by Cohen. Incredible book. We're gonna get into that, of course, in a minute. Just to share with you guys, Cohen, he's the author also of a book called When I Stop Talking, You Know I'm Dead. Where he talks about the life of Jerry Weintraub. So I also did a book review on that, which you guys can also view that on my Instagram post. But this book really took me by surprise. I did not know what to expect about. I had no idea about the banana empire, just the history behind it, the trials and tribulations, the successes, and the ethics involved in all of it. So I'm gonna give you guys some samples of that so that you don't have to read the book, or so that you have enough motivation now that you can apply that to your life, as well as getting the book so that you can always refer to it later on. And this book, if I were to rate this book on a scale of 1 to 8, which I'll probably do that from now on, we're gonna rate them on a scale of 1 to 8, with 8 being the highest. I give this book an 8. I think this book is solid, guys. This book is totally solid. I mean, it's only 250 pages, really, other than like the notes at the end. So, no pictures, but very well structured and very good story. Like Cohen, he's a very good storyteller. He almost makes you feel like you're in the story with him. Yeah, it's almost like if he's kind of like the grandpa that tells the stories, right? He's sitting there chilling with you on the porch and tells the story as if he was there. So I think this book is very compelling. So I give it an 8, guys. And I would like you, when you read the book, also put your rating, put your scores in the comments below as well. Share, like it, show the love, guys. I do this for you guys because I'm very passionate about this. And I know that you guys are watching also because you're passionate, you're looking for those nuggets. So we're going to dive into those nuggets now. So the fish that ate the whale is divided into sections, this book. So first we start green, then we go yellow, then we go ripe, and then brown, right? That's kind of like the aging process of the banana. So let's go through the green part first, right? From the moment that Sam Samurai, right? This story is all about Sam Samurai. Oh, Sam Samurai. Sorry if I butchered your name, man. But so from the moment that he put his eyes on his first banana, he really saw it, and immediately he had millions of questions about it, right? He saw it on a wheelbarrow, and he asked him, like, man, like what does it taste like? What's the how do you store it? What's the size? Like, how long does it last? All of those things he started as he was just so fascinated by this fruit, and he wanted to learn everything about it. I thought that was by the way, anyone who's successful always starts with a vision. And I think when he was a kid, he had that vision immediately, and it called him, it pulled him. I don't think he knew in that moment what impact he was going to have on the world when he saw that banana. However, his impact was massive, and you guys will see in this review. So, right, so here, and it says it in chapter 1, right there in chapter 1. So what ends up happening is Samurai, right, he immediately gets involved in, he becomes involved in the fruit industry. That was actually one of his first jobs was one of his first jobs was working in the farm, right? He was like a farm boy, but what he really wanted to do was find a way where he could get onto the fruit boats, right? The fruit boats that were coming from Central America, and have something to do with them. So what he ended up doing was he got involved in one of them, and he was kind of like a regular dude, a regular worker, right? He was just kind of working the job, and he ended up finding a Russian guy, by the way. So he has a Russian accent. He can't speak English very well, but he noticed everything. He noticed the way that the cars were filled and rolled to a sliding. It says here in the book, how men from the banana company, college men, moved through the crowd barking orders but paid special attention to the growing pile of ripes. Anything can cause a banana to ripen early. If you squeeze a green banana, it will turn in days instead of weeks. Ditto, if it's nicked, dented, or banged, any of that. So a ripe banana will cause those around it to ripen, and those will cause others to still ripen until an entire boxcar is ruined. So this was before refrigeration was perfected, guys. So he immediately got involved in his dream, guys. No hesitation. See, so this goes for any of you. Like, if there's something that's like yearning inside, just go for it. Like, don't wait. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you'll realize why it was so important not to wait, right? When you view his level of success in this, right? Go with the intuition, as I say. Go with your gut, with what you feel, right? Because that's what's gonna pull you. It's kind of like hunger. So now, Zemuhrai, when he noticed the entire process, what did he do? He noticed that the bananas, since they ripened so easy, there was tons of bananas that were being ripened, right? But at the time, when one's man's trash is another man's treasure, he found an opportunity in those ripening bananas that they were throwing away, the company. And what he did was, he spoke to the staff manager at the end of the night and asked if he had $150 in his pocket. He bought all the bananas that he could that were ripened, and he started selling them. He made a makeshift sign. It said bananas for sale, right? Super cheap. He sold them for freaking dirt cheap, guys. It came out to about, I mean, we're talking cents on the dollar. He was selling these things to be totally justified, or something that came of concern that even followed him back to the US, right? Where people, a lot of Hondurans were infuriated, right? They were blaming everyone here and there, and it was a question of where was it coming from, who's behind it, right? And eventually, the political situation got so fierce in Honduras as well as in the United States as to all of this corruption that's going on, right? And what was the corruption anyway? The corruption was that there was so much money in between the government and these corporations buying land from all of these landowners and then creating that so that they could fulfill their own political affiliations. So that was the issue that was created, and that's where there was a revolt on the behalf of the people. And the revolt created now just this over and over again ensuing battle, right? But the battle ended up resulting in Samurai pretty much winning. In an interesting way, a new president was elected of Honduras called Bonilla. And when that president was elected, it was with a condition that Sam Samurai, that he get a lot more authority and that he has access now to build infrastructure, roads, factories, plants, right? Things like that with the land that he had. So the government somehow had a say in that, and whether or not Samurai was involved in that was yet to say in the book. I believe that he did, right? Because I believe it was his vision when he got there. He already knew what he was gonna do. He knew what he was gonna grow, right? So the ethical question to all of you is, do you think that he really, had a say in that political official being elected or not? And if so, why? Right? But I will tell you that I will tell you guys that served him very well, because now that he had the ability to go out and create this infrastructure for his industry, for his company, now he had free reign, guys. So with that free reign, of course he's gonna expand, right? And his goal was to create the first banana plantation, which he did, right? And when he created the banana plantation, he hired workers, right? So he provided jobs and all that stuff. And surprisingly, I thought that people were going to be overworked and underpaid. Surprisingly enough, they actually were adequately paid, and they worked from 4 a.m. to noon, right, before the sun got too tough to work in those types of conditions. And so surprisingly enough, that's how he operated, and he continued to operate that way, and expansion continued to grow, right? Now they became kingfish, right? This is where they start to go ripe. They became the kingfish of the sea, in which now they had so much supply, right? They were growing in so much popularity, right? Bananas were now becoming a part of culture, but there was another issue. They had so much supply, but the supply that they had still was yet to meet the demand that they were trying to achieve. So many people wanted bananas worldwide, and they didn't have the capacity to get those bananas to all of those people. So what Samurai did was genius, guys. I think this is just brilliant. What he did was he had met with some of his competitors, right? Because at the time, these competitors were getting very, very heavy. Like I told you guys earlier, the government officials were looking for ways, back in the States, they were looking for ways to soil the empire that was growing, right? To soil the success of the banana company that Samurai was building up. Right? They were saying, oh no, like, of course, anytime there's someone successful at something, there's gonna be haters, right? So it's like, oh no, like, they're doing it for their own self-interest, they're doing it because they're corrupt and all that stuff. So soiling, right? And whatever it was that was happening in the States, whatever regulations, I'm sure that there was many situations. I'm probably being a little biased with this just by reading it the first time, but the way I viewed it was, now there's people who, they're not doing it just for justice. Now they're doing it because they want they're creating ways to make him look like the villain, to look like the bad guy. And I'll tell you guys honestly, I read this with a keen eye. Every time I read this book, I didn't really find something negative or innately corrupt about this individual, about Sam Samurai. So be it as it may, he had a lot of enemies, right? A lot of enemies on the outside, and not only in politics, he had a lot of enemies in industry, in business. All of those people, right? But they couldn't compete, right? Because there were these smaller type fish, and his company was the big fish. United Fruit Company was big fish. So they ended up but even as a big fish, they weren't where they wanted to be. Samurai had a bigger vision. So what he did was he met with one of their competitors, the strong competitors, who actually did have access to many of these countries where they could get more bananas, right? So what he did was they created an acquisition, right? And in that acquisition, they merged. And they created now a mega empire, a monolithic empire, because now they were able to have enough supply and have enough demand, and meet that demand, and then be able to just grow onto an entirely new level. I mean, talk about 10x, now we're talking 100x your business, right? They went from, I think it was like 3 million to like 30 million or something like that. So genius level, but he didn't even stop at that, guys, right? Once that happened and they saw the impact, then now at the time, Sam Samurai is already one of the largest stockholders in the company. So him and the board of directors decide to now buy out all of the companies. So they bought out dozens and dozens of companies, right? So it went from looking like a grocery list to like a RIP list. All of the companies that didn't make it, mom and pop shops, no longer existed, right? The ones that would get the shipment in from Central America and would sell them directly were no more, right? Everything was going to the United Fruit Company. So genius on the part of this company that was that just kept growing. So they went from 10 to 100 to 1,000x the company, and now with all of that, ownership started to change, right? And I'll leave you guys with this. Ownership started to change. Sam Samurai assigns someone as the president of the company, and when that happens now, some things start to change because the president looks for new ownership, right? New types of leaders, and the people who start running the company start not running it the correct way, right? Sam Samurai, in the meantime, was already on his way to Honduras to grow and expand the banana plantation. And while he was out there, things were just starting to go downhill as far as the company went. All of that money that they had made, their stock ownership went from, it went from like $150 a share down to like 10% that, to $1.50 a share, like ridiculous, right? So it was a perilous situation, and these guys at the same time were downing and bashing on Sam Samurai, make it like just saying that, still giving them the impression that he was the guy when he first started, that he was just a farmer, right? Because he was out in the plantation and he was working with the people, then they viewed that as, oh, well, he's not an executive. No, because he's working with the people. He's cutting the grass and in the plantation with them, toiling and soiling with them. So back into the fields, right? He went on a tour of every plantation that United Fruit Company had owned, and he went and spoke with every single individual, every single worker, identifying what problems, what issues they were having, what was working well, what were some best practices that they were implementing. That way he can improve even further, right? That is called integrity, guys. That is what a real businessman, what a real leader does, is they don't settle, they don't stop, right? They stand up for what they believe in, and they do it with integrity, with morals, and they do it for the people. He went out and then he went to go help all of his people in his company to make it a company that's that much stronger, that all of, not only him, but all of his people believe in. That's phenomenal, guys. That's a phenomenal trait of courage, right? Every single one of you right now should be leaving out of this with a new sense of courage and inspiration and pride, because that's what this guy Sam Samurai, Russian dude with an accent, was made fun of. That's what he was able to do just by taking a step for what he believed in. And he was the fish that ate the whale. So all of you who think that you're a fish and you're being bullied and pushed around by the whale, well, guess what, guys? Even if you are a fish, you can totally eat the whale. Whether you're an investor, you're a business owner, right? Maybe you're a doctor, a lawyer, or someone maybe you're working a part-time job, flipping burgers. Whatever it is that you do, just because you're a small fish, you have that power that you can eat the entire whale. That is the message that I want to share with you guys today. My name is Vinnie Rodriguez, also known as 8-Figure Vision, here to provide a new scope of perspective for you guys today, right? Yes, big is better, but big doesn't necessarily mean big in size. Big is big in big thought, right? So you can be this small fish. And I want all of you right now today, go find your whale and go eat that up. Alright guys, so much love, peace and prosperity to all of you guys, and until the next time.